What's up, everyone? My name is Tyler. You're watching Mom's Basement MMA. And today, my next guest is a mixed martial artist from England. She joins me ahead of her next bout. That'll be at Aries FC 25. Well, she'll be taking on Melissa Hurtado in Paris, France, September 25th. Lindsey Payne joins me on the program today. Miss Payne, welcome to the program. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for taking time out of camp to talk to me today.
Thanks for having me. It's really good to be here.
I want to discuss your martial arts background. You're a relative new face to the professional circuit, but you are not new to the fight game. You've been in this. You've been in the fight game for many years. I'm sure you had a decorated amateur career, and I'm sure you've been doing this most of your life. Can you tell me a little bit how you kind of got involved and how did we end up getting here?
Actually, it's not as long as people would think. I did have a really great amateur career and multiple belts and titles and things, but I only started training martial arts 3.5 years ago. Before that, I didn't really understand what MMA was. But there was a gym right around the corner from us, and they were advertising women's MMA classes. And my husband, who knows me very well and knows that I'm a very intense physical person, was like, "You should do this. You would love it. You would be great at it." And at the time, I remember thinking, like, I kind of watched what was involved, and I thought, I don't know if I could actually do that to another person. That's pretty brutal. I don't know about that. But it turns out he was right. He knows me really well, and I'm pretty good at it, and I love it.
I also know that you're very involved in your community. I know you do some coaching as well, and I was hoping I could pick your brain a little bit about that. Like being an active prize fighter and then coaching simultaneously, that can't be an easy feat. How do you manage both of those roles, and what's the most challenging aspect of it?
That's a great question, and it's not easy balancing everything. But when you love something, you make it work, and it's not really a question of how, you just do it. I really love getting to share my passion with other people, and getting to coach them. So I really prioritize making that happen. I have the benefit that my husband is just wildly supportive and does everything that he can, with taking care of the house and cooking and our child so that I can give everything I have to the sport. It's not very often that I think you get the opportunity to do what I'm doing. So he puts in very long shifts to try and make it possible for me to do what I'm doing.
Well, full credit to him. Obviously, I can't imagine just like your day to day life and what you're giving up in order to pursue this dream. And I know that's kind of like an all hands on deck sort of arrangement. Completely understand that. But let's talk about your most recent fight. You fought a really tough girl, Frederica Di Filippo. This was a very entertaining fight, and you yourself encountered some initial adversity going through this fight. A tough girl that was looking to take your head off from the opening bell. Can you tell me a little bit, what do you recall from that bout, and what are some of the highlights that kind of stick in your mind after all this time?
Oh man, it was a great fight. I loved it. I think of all of my fights, this was the one that I went into like the most excited about. I couldn't tell you why that was, but I was just buzzing and I was ready to put on a good show. I knew that she was going to be my toughest opponent to date. And I'm not in this for like easy wins and easy fights. I want to have fun. I want to challenge myself and find out what I'm capable of. And I wanted to put on a good show, and she and I did, and it was so much fun. Um, yeah, it was also a really fun test of my striking because not most of my fights up to that point had been um, against there is a lot more grappling involved. I know I spent most of the time on her back, but as you said, like she was tough and she was trying to take my head off, and I had to deal with that kind of pressure. And we had a game plan, we had a strategy that worked with it, and yeah, it was. I loved having such a dominant performance. There's one point in the fight that I think I had her pinned down underneath me against the cage. And if you slow it down, you can see that I paused just for a second and I just smiled to myself because I was just having so much fun in that moment, knowing that I was controlling the situation, getting to do what I love.
your grappling in particular stood out to me. You dominated the grappling exchanges,
Mhm.
and there were several times where I thought you were going to get her with a rear naked choke. I know that's what you were looking for. I
Me
know that's
too.
what you were trying to do. And I was telling you, like, was she fighting the hands really good? Like, it
Mhm.
looked like you had that thing cinched up in a few different times. I'm surprised you didn't get the submission victory.
Yeah, that is honestly, that was my biggest regret. Every time I watch that fight back, I just think, "Oh, I should have finished her. I should have gotten that rear naked choke." Um, Not to make excuses, but I had really big gloves.
Mhm.
Last minute, I ordered a different pair of gloves because the other ones I had weren't fitting, and so these ones were like really bulky. And I actually found like those were really annoying trying to get under. But also, not to take away from my opponent at all, she had great defense. She got her, she did a really great job of keeping her chin down and doing the hand fighting. So it wasn't there like I would have liked it to be because she had a great defense. Credit to her, she was very resilient.
And full credit to you. You were the victor, rightfully so. You dug deep. You did what you needed to do to get that victory. And how just what did that mean for you to continue this winning streak? You've been on a winning streak for quite some time, and then to make your pro debut in that fashion and to win impressively. Just what did all that mean for you to see that tally on your professional record after so much sacrifice, everything that you've given up? That was
Mhm.
the goal. You achieved your goal.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. It meant so much. I think up to that point, because my career has just been a whirlwind, it's gone so quickly. And I went pro a lot more quickly than I think maybe people would have originally expected because I'd only been fighting for just over a year when I went pro. And, we all struggle with like nerves and doubts and things. At least I do. Sometimes I believe I'm the best fighter in the world, and other times I, you know, I think that I'm still the amateur who walked into the gym clueless. But winning so definitively at a pro level against a good level opponent was such a boost to me mentally to remember and realize that I belong here, that I've earned my space in the professional rankings, and that I can do what I set out to do. Because the proof is right there. It's recorded. It's on video. You can see I definitively won all 3 rounds of a very tough fight. So yeah, it's a great mental boost, honestly.
Have you ever like stopped to like kind of consider the impact that that performance may have made on other people? Like you're a wife, you're a mother, and there are a lot of people that they start transitioning into into that stage of life, and things
Mhm.
change. I'm a parent myself. I'm married too, and like it's not easy to just like go out there and pursue your dreams. Like a lot of people be like, oh, like it's time to move on to other things. It's time to be a mom or it's time to be a dad or whatever. But you're out there, you're a parent, you're training, and like you're competing at a very high level and you're like winning. And I was curious, like, did anyone from your community, your gym, whatever, come up to you and be like, wow, you really inspired me to keep pursuing my passions, even though, I'm not like, a 19-year-old like kid out of university or whatever.
Yeah, yes, actually, a lot of people around me speak a lot. I feel really awkward talking about this, but like about how inspiring they find me. Um, the fact that I started this after having my first child, when I first started martial arts, and in that time, I went from nothing to where I am now. And it's why I try to be really open on my socials about being a parent of a small child and juggling all of the things because I think that I'm walking living proof that you're never too old. It's never too late to try something new, to push yourself, to challenge yourself. And a lot of people have seen that through me, and it's made them realize, like, oh, actually, she can do this. Why can't I do that? Um, yeah, it's very humbling. I love it.
Well, well said. Well said. Well, you have another big challenge ahead of you on 25 September. You'll be going up against another tough opponent, Melissa Hurtado. But you're the bad lady from England that's coming in from overseas to fight like a
Mhm.
local girl. Nobody wants to see you win. Does that fire you up even more to get the opportunity to go to France to fight for a big promotion against an MMA factory gal?
I don't really care. I never did this for anybody else but me. I don't care if anyone's on my side. If they are, great. but that doesn't change anything either. At the end of the day, wherever I am, what country I am, whether it's a tiny promotion or a massive one, I'm there to step into the cage and do the thing that God made me to do. And I'm going to do that with everything that I have in my soul. So if they're doing me as I walk out, it doesn't really matter because it's not me between me and them. It's between me and God.
Your opponent, Melissa Hurtado, does she remind you at all of Filippo in her approach and in her mannerisms in the cage, or are we looking at two different ladies?
She does remind me of her a little bit. Obviously, Melissa Hurtado has some more definitive finishes, but I think they're quite similar in their heavy striking boxing approach. They're both very aggressive and really like to steam forward and put you under that pressure. So I think it's about being able to handle that heavy pressure off the back, keep composure, and really deal with that forward pressure. So I think it's a similar thing, just another level up.
Well, I don't want to ask you too many questions because I want to watch this fight here next month.
Mhm.
But what I would ask you is, where do you believe that you have the most distinctive advantage over your opponent in this fight?
Um, it's hard to say because we don't have a lot of footage on her. She's a high level judo player and her grappling is clearly very good and her striking is clearly very good. But um, I think I think that I'm going to be the more composed fighter in the ring. I'm very, very well rounded and I'm very good under pressure. I think that she hasn't fought up to this point someone who's able to handle the pressure like I am. And it will be fun and interesting to see how she does when she comes up against someone who can handle that pressure and see how she has to readjust and calibrate.
For you, Lindsey, it's going to be an opportunity for exposure to a global audience. There's going to be people from all
Mm-hmm.
over the world tuning into this fight to watch you perform. And what do people need to know about Lindsey Payne? Like, can you tell people like what can they expect to see, and just kind of like what are some of the talents? What are some of the unique factors that you bring to the table?
I put on good fights and I finish people. Um, DeFilippo was the first person whom I beat that I didn't finish, and it came awfully close. So I think they can expect when they see me in the cage, they're going to see a good fight. And wherever the fight goes, whether it's standing or on the ground, we'll get to finish and we'll put on a good show. And they're going to see a lot more of me. I've been climbing the ranks really quickly and not planning to slow down anytime soon.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from her yourself. Make sure you tune in on September 25th. She's going to put on a performance for you, Ari's FC 25. Before I let you go, I'd be remiss to not ask you who's going to be in your corner, who've been some of your main training partners for this fight.
Yeah, so I will have my head coach, Mark Kelly, in my corner, and then my grappling coach, Finn Grant Jones, and then my husband, Zachary is, I don't know, I called him Zachary. Zach is his name. He's always in my corner. He trains jujitsu, but he keeps me grounded, and so he'll be there.
No
And
pun intended, I suppose.
yeah, no pun intended. Yeah, they'll be my corner people for this fight, and yeah, I couldn't do without them.
Excellent. I always like to ask about corners because I want to know who the faces are going to
Mm-hmm.
be when I see them on TV. But I also wanted to actually turn the mic over to you because I know that there are a lot of people that support you to make your dream happen. If there are anyone out there that you'd like to thank or any sponsors that you would like to briefly mention before I let you go, let's do it.
Absolutely, yeah, thank you. Because you're right, it's not an easy sport to pursue, and it's my sponsors who make it possible. So like I would give a massive shout out to Simmons Hanley Conroy, who have been my biggest, most loyal supporter, and Healing Hands Skin Therapy in Springfield, Missouri. If anybody's watching this, go give them a shout. And then Crown and Heel Burger is our local smash burger place, and they've all backed me for a long time. So massive thanks to them for helping get me to where I am now.
And massive thank you, Lindsey, for being on the program and taking time out of your day to speak with me. And I look forward to having you back on the show very, very soon.
Thank you so much, Tyler. It's great to speak with you.